So everyone, welcome to oh my, I forgot what episode number this is. That's pretty bad, isn't it? Shock. Anyway,
I don't know if I've missed any other ones, but it's at least five. I know that.
this is episode 6 or 7, Test Your Might podcast.
Okay.
Very special follow up episode. This is Storm speaking. I have Shock with us, and also DREWSUS from. Is that am I saying that right, Drew?
Yeah, DREWSUS.
Awesome. Okay, so DREWSUS, who many probably have not heard from before, like this, so it's exciting. So this is going to be solely around UMK3, which makes me very excited because I mean, who doesn't like UMK3? So basically, Drew, tell us about yourself. You know, what's your background like with the game and everything?
All right, so I played the game as a kid, right? I think all of us did. I was a Mortal Kombat fanatic, and then got a little bit older, and the game kind of, it kind of faded out for me. But then back in 2012, I downloaded Mortal Kombat Arcade Collection, thinking like, oh yeah, I remember this game. I was pretty good at it, so I downloaded the ladder once or twice and decided to start playing online, and I just got demolished, like just terrible, like embarrassing, And it was 2012, so it was like I got beat, and then I got hate mail. So not super encouraging, but I found Test Your Might. I was posting on Test Your Might. I found a MAME download, so I started playing on MAME. And then what really actually drew me in to like want to start playing the game at a higher level, playing it more competitively, was I saw the Road to Evo grand finals match between Shock and Li Joe.
Oh man,
And
that's
that's
awesome.
what made you play Human Smoke, of course. That was.
What?
There's no
Well,
other character in the game. Might as well just use them.
I got to see two characters played, I think, during that final, maybe three.
Yeah, I probably jumped around in that set a little bit because Joe doesn't know how to play against some of the characters, but sometimes it doesn't work.
Okay, awesome.
That's kind of my background.
Awesome. So, really, with my perception is these events that are being thrown in. I don't mean to jump right into it, but why not with the Ohio event? That it's not the first time of you running an event like this. So tell us about these events that you're running, a little bit about them, and the one that's coming up.
Okay. So it's April 5th through 7th in Cincinnati, Ohio. It's at Arcade Legacy. Um, it's pretty cool, like the location. It's one of the very few storefronts that are open within the old Cincinnati Mall.
Okay.
The mall itself, like it's been documented, like on one of those like ghost town, or one of those, yeah, like a ghost town
Gone but
or
not forgotten.
abandoned building. Yeah, gone but not forgotten, I think is what it was.
Okay. My old
So
recipe
yeah,
on there.
um, this is the fourth year that the event is being held. The first year we had it like inside of the arcade, and it got a little crowded, but it was still fun.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, the event grew a little bit for the second year. I think we had 13 the first year, 17 the second year, and then we moved it kind of out into like of course the entire rest of the building pretty much is abandoned. So there's like a food court right outside of Arcade Legacy, and we were kind of on the edge of that food court. So I think there were 18 the second year. Last year we had, I think, 20 for the UMK3 tournament, and we had a total of, I think, 21 people that showed up to play. We had a guy that came in on Sunday. This year, this year's a lot more events, a much more aggressive schedule. So we've got we're going to have casuals and runbacks from last year's event. The casuals will take place, I think, starting at around like 8 or 9 o'clock or something Friday. We'll also have the runbacks from all of the grand finals from last year's event.
Wow.
1v1, the 2 versus 2 tag teams, Mortal Kombat Trilogy, and per combat for UMK3.
Nice.
Wow, that's awesome.
And And anybody who's wondering and they hear like, oh, like 20 players or something, like, remember that this game is, I mean, it's coming close on 25 years old now. It's, you know, a couple of years away from that.
Yeah, this is an
That's
MK11.
yeah, that's good. That's like good numbers for a previous game. Like, we just ran MKX at Winter Brawl. We had 13 players for MKX. That was the last MK that came out. So to put it into perspective, like, these games drop off every time a new generation comes out. So the fact that 20 people want to show up, and you're probably going to see 32, I think, this year. I think you have a very good chance of seeing 32.
Right now we have, I think, 33 confirmed, and of course that number is going to go up and down.
Yeah,
between now and the event. But yeah,
I definitely see it because there's a lot of hype for MK11 in general. That can give any game like a little bit of a boost. But I think you do have a good shot at that, and you're running plenty of games. So
this year we've also added MK2.
Good.
MK2 plus tag team. Yeah, the tag team. It's basically just an exhibition tournament. Mm-hmm. It's going to be really fun to see.
Okay, awesome. Wow. So it's clear that your love for UMK3 is quite deep, especially when you're running events for it, and it's not just a one-off event. You've been doing it for years. So as you are doing the event, you're learning from it. You're growing from it clearly. Sound very organized, and wow. So now the pot bonuses and stuff like that, how does that stuff work? Because I've seen that before. You have had those, right?
What now? I'm sorry.
Have you had like pot bonuses for the events like I've seen before? I could have swore like last year it was like maybe a $500 one, or am I mistaken there?
Yeah, we did have a $500 pot bonus last year. We'll have at least that much this year. And what I'm really kind of gunning for this year is to have pot bonuses across multiple events instead of just the main event. Main event will still have the $500 pot bonus, maybe more if we can continue to expand it. But I also kind of want to try to get some pot bonuses in for like the doubles event and for Trilogy and maybe MK2.
Awesome. Now, is this mainly Mortal Kombat? Just to be clear for everyone who's listening, it's mainly just a UMK3, MK2 event. There's no like other games there. Is that clear?
Right. MK9, we're going to run MK9 Sunday afternoon, I think. The cool thing about Arcade Legacies, it's real reasonable, right? It's a $10 venue fee, but it's good for Saturday and Sunday.
Oh, that's great.
And it gets you access to the Arcade Legacy, which has at least 50 arcade machines all set on free play, as well as consoles and stuff with games available.
Very similar. That's great.
So with Arcade Legacy, now Shock, I know you'll be able to help me out here with this one too, but Arcade Legacy, they have some history. Wasn't there another event held there before too? Just because I know people are going to be familiar with Arcade Legacy. Was it like?
I'm only familiar with it because of Drew. That's
really?
where I.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think I mean, the name sounded familiar when he first mentioned it, but I don't remember anything specific. But Drew probably would know if they would have told you.
No, that's very true. Yeah, is there there wasn't where were the Seasons meetings held years ago? Because I actually never attended that.
Yeah, I went to 2 of them. They were both at I think it's just called Momo's, or it's like
Momo, yeah, you're right.
Which was it was kind of like an all-purpose facility. It has a little bar. They had bowling, and then it's just a big open area. That was for years they did that there. That's what I was actually going to ask Drew. I was wondering if you knew about those events back in the day. I know you said you rekindled your interest in 2012, but 2010, 2011 is when we did those 2 pretty good. I mean, well, I think the biggest MK tournament we had in America was literally Seasons Meetings 2010. There was almost 40 players in that, and that was unheard of at the time, especially being on cabinet. That would have been kind of tough, but we managed to get some mods on there so people could use gamepads at last minute.
That's cool. Yeah, I I knew nothing of the competitive offline or online scenes until 2012.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really nuts to like meet both worlds. I mean, I know firsthand from starting as like an online guy and the online like what Shock and I kind of got into in our earlier podcast, that it just listening to Shock about you know the players, because I was super curious about like, you know, and again we're remaining on the UMK3 talk right now, the players that I've only ever heard names of, like between like just throwing some random ones out, like you know, Lex, Marvarasta, you know, the Conquerors of the world, and just kind of deep diving into that. Just really neat to hear both worlds, because again, wow,
Hashtag Conqueror reference.
yeah, like
Love
pun not
hearing
intended, but also pun intended, because Conqueror is like, you know, he's pretty much a legend in the world of Mortal Kombat. So,
Yeah, you know, so yeah, like I was saying in the previous podcast, is that there's a lot of people whom I maybe only met once or twice, and people I heard about through others. So that's like most of my experience, because when I back in the 90s, I was very young for a person who was competing against like random people and winning. Like to be like 13, 14 and like shutting out like an entire group of people, that just, you know, Li Joe was like maybe the only other kid doing that, you know, back in the day. But I didn't get to travel much beyond New Jersey. New Jersey's very small. There's a lot going on here, but it's very small. So, and unfortunately, my stories are limited to my personal experiences until I you know started coming around FGC events, and that's, like I said, that's when I met Tom Brady and like a few other um, you know, pioneers. You know, he was around before me. He's probably the only one. You know.
yeah, it's hearing about those people that you get, like for me at least, I got more curious about, and you know, with Drew, seeing your name pop up on Test Your Might over the years, and all of your work that you're clearly doing with UMK3, you know, especially with this event coming up, it just was natural to get you on here and kind of get to know you better. And so, you know, now, who do you play in UMK3?
Like my main,
Yeah.
Human Smoke. Probably number 2 is probably Ermac. Get Cabal out if I absolutely have to. I kind of feel like I need a shower after I play as Cabal, because I feel dirty afterwards. But you know, I got a little bit of a Sonya. It's not a shock Sonya, but it's viable.
I almost took that as like, it's not like a shockingly good Sonya, but then I immediately after that I got the reference.
Yeah, I'm like the only person who ever really used Sonya, except Jet Fee. He had those perfect punishes with the leg grab on everything. It was fantastic.
Tell
Yeah,
you
yeah,
who's really good and somebody to watch out for at the event this year. Last year's grand champion, DDY. He kind of came out of nowhere.
yeah.
He's one of the few guys that's been at the event every year, and he's going to be coming this year. In fact, I think myself, DDY, McLovins, and somebody.
So you said DDY, correct?
Yeah, DDI. Yeah, on Test Your Might he goes by DDY08. Oh, and the other one is or Spin, or whatever you want to call him. Those 5 guys, the 5 of us are the 5 that have been there for every event. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's just,
and people coming from, you know, a great distance to be there, every one of them. That's fantastic.
that's terrific. That's awesome.
I think Dubson and DDY come from I want to say Oklahoma. Last year we had a guy come in from 1 or 2 guys coming from Florida, and this year we're also having a guy coming in from Texas.
Nice.
Wow, that's growth there, clearly. So with, you know, talking about those other players that again Shock mentioned on earlier podcasts and whatnot, so tell me about some of the players that you've met through your holding your events. You know, much like the ones that have come out for maybe every one so far, and just a little bit about the players that have come out and kind of what you've seen so far.
Okay, sure. Well, first I want to let me talk about McLovins. He's he's from around the Cincinnati area also, and I met him I think the first time back in 2014 or 2015, and we played together. We actually met up at Arcade Legacy and played some UMK3. I mean, I think we played for like 2 hours straight or something like that, and he got me pretty good. But it was a good learning experience, and it kind of showed that online play is a little different than offline play, but you can adapt easily, like if you pay attention to what's going on. But so he's one. I'm sure you guys. I mean, you guys have heard of him. I know.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, I met him.
Excellent player.
2010. Yeah, he was the most promising out of all the Ohio players I met at that event.
And he won the first year, won the second year, and he wasn't there last year, but or I'm sorry, the second year I think he also won the trilogy event, and trilogy event last year or 2 years ago also, and then I'm trying to think. There's so many, and I don't want to leave. I don't want to leave anybody out.
No, it's cool. You can always. I did the same thing. I should have made a list of names before I went into it, because I feel horrible because I'm missing 10 or 12 names. I feel like, and I'm only mentioning maybe 2.
Yeah. Well, if there's 2 other guys I want to make sure that I get out, and that's Dubson and Draconian. Those guys are like my closest. I guess you could call them like MK brothers, if you want to get kind of like that about it, because they both had a big hand in me getting to the level that I got to, to kind of have the tournament, or to kind of have the confidence to not only hold a tournament but also to play in it, and to play in other offline events. I played with those 2 guys on almost a daily basis, like throughout 2014.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's when it gets real, when you have. Sorry, Shock, I didn't cut you off.
Oh no, I cut you off. So I think I'm. Sometimes I think the things fade out a little bit, and I miss it. The audio.
There's many others. I mean, I could take the entire hour to talk about all of the guys at the event. They're all great. And the kind of neat thing is online games in general, there's just there's a certain level of trash talk that goes on, and whether it's friendly or malicious is in the eye of the beholder, or whatever. But at this event, I mean, everybody, all of the online personas kind of go away.
Oh yeah.
Everybody's cool with each other. Everybody's real friendly. It's an awesome event.
Yeah, I can attest to that, because going to my first offline event, Shock was there for that one, and so I met Shock for the first time, and a lot of other people that I met for the first time that whether they're still with the scene or not. That was the first time I saw Tom Brady. He looks super snobby. I'll say that again, Shock. No, I love Tom. Learned a lot about him, but yeah, just all these people. It's almost like just me looking around and like, oh, who's that? Because you're just knowing by like an online name. You're not knowing really who they are, their faces, and even events after that for MK9, people that you could be like kind of super crappy with online, but then like you just bite it and go up and like, hey, hey, I'm Storms. What's up? And then you guys are having like lunch together, or having a few matches together, or it totally changes things. It's like everyone needs to do it.
It's sort of sobering to like meet somebody whom you've maybe only known online, and like all the things that they'll say, and then how the real person is, or maybe not. Maybe that person at the event is actually hiding what they really want to be, and it will sometimes change how you interact online. You'll be at each other's throats for a long time, and then you meet each other at a tournament, play each other you know, what some of us call like for real, because you're playing, you know, on either the hardware or, you know, there's no lag, no
Right.
excuse. You just play somebody and then it's chill after that. It's like mutual respect, you know, usually like regardless of the outcome. And you'll find many times that, you know, your online nemesis will maybe become your best friend after that. So that's one of the rewarding things about, you know, oh, this person you've never seen before, and they come up to you and like, hi, I'm so and so, like you just said, you know, and it's like, oh, okay, all right, so this is that guy who, you know, says this or that, you know, like, yeah, you don't know what you're doing, you know, things like that, and then you show them they're not right. So
Yeah, it completely changes things. It's you don't can't you cannot speak of it until you do it. Until you go to these events, 'cause you can be that person that's sitting at home and you've been told you should go to events for years, and like, yeah, maybe one day, and then you think you might know that, but you know how it is, but you truly do not until you go to an event and see it all, because again, that's where you could, you know, level up real quick, and just network with other players and get matches in, and some of these even top players for even the most recent games,
yeah.
well, or even just UMK3, you can get with them.
Um, you know, there's one player I'm not going to mention his name, but he back on during the Long Island days when we were going out there running events for like, you know, we would go to like a Third Strike event, but we would have like UMK3 on the side because like we just, you know, it just had to be there when John Gallagher was running stuff. But there was a player who lives in on Staten Island, which is dead center between where I live in New Jersey and Long Island, and the guy would run his mouth all the time on the boards every single day, and everybody, you know, couldn't stand him. He would not come out to events. He absolutely refused. We would offer to pick him up, bring him to the event, drop him off free of charge. He refused to do it. He would not do it. And he still wouldn't stop talking. So it's like you got somebody who wants to live in that online persona and does not want to come out of it, who is never going to play anybody for real, and it's just that's good enough for them, so to speak. But it's really unfortunate, you know, when you like clearly there's like camaraderie and like a brotherhood, you know, involved with these, you know, running the events and everything, and like you get like an offer like that, like why wouldn't you take it?
I think I know who you're talking about. Again, yeah,
You know,
I'm not gonna mention the name, but
yeah. But
they,
this is
you know, that
right.
person should definitely when they're
Still,
listening to
offer's
this,
still open.
yeah,
Offers.
yes, yeah, yeah, they should definitely take you up on that offer and go with it. But yeah, I know who you're talking about. Very very true. Just, you know, just it could even be a top secret thing where you don't tell anyone. You just do it, and like they're
Exactly.
disguised. Like, hey, you can
Here's
wear
the
like a
thing, you
Yoda
know?
mask if you want, and just go to the mat or go to the event, and then when they finally feel comfortable, just take it off and hey, I'm so and so. Here it is.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I don't want to get too far away from your event, because that's kind of the whole reason that we're having this call, to kind of get to know you better, and discuss, you know, good old UMK3. Even though funny enough how MK11 is coming out in just over a month, but so with your event, so tell us about the event that's coming up.
Okay.
I mean, basically, again, where it's at, how many people you're expecting, you know, the
Yeah.
games, you know, and how you're excited for this, and maybe some of the maybe run backs that you'll have, you know, 'cause I'm sure you're excited as hell about this, and then
Yeah, absolutely. Like there's a build up every year. And there's like a little lull, like a about a month beforehand, where it's like, oh man, is this gonna go off right? Are we gonna have the same issues we had last year? You know, is everybody gonna show up that says they're gonna show up, and all this other stuff? Um, Event itself hits, and it's like you don't want it to end, and
right.
you're kind of sad that it's over, but you're also glad that it happened, because you know that it's going to be even bigger and better the next year. But yeah, April 5th through 7th and Sunday, Arcade Legacy in Cincinnati, Ohio. We're going to be playing UMK3 which the main event, which is UMK3 1 versus 1. We'll also have UMK3 4-player 2 versus 2, having random select rand per combat, and then we'll also be playing MK Trilogy 3 versus 3, Mortal Kombat 2, Mortal Kombat 2 plus tag teams, and Mortal Kombat 9.
Okay, so a big question that I don't know how I missed it, but will this be streamed at all?
Yes, absolutely.
That is awesome. Okay, good.
We'll likely be running 2 streams this year. In the past, we've been using Arcade Legacy's Twitch stream, which we're going to use that, but the main event will be broadcast on my Twitch channel. So when we have one event going, it'll be on mine, and when we have events occurring, I guess concurrently, it'll be on Arcade Legacy's Twitch as well.
Awesome. Now, is the Twitch channel spelled the same way your name is on the forums then?
I think so.
Okay. So we'll have to just make sure that that's submitted into the stream archive on TestStreamite. That way it shows up on the right side when people are viewing, because I mean, that's why it's there, to let people know what's going on and whatnot. That way we know that your stream is getting attention, people know about it, because, you know, not everyone's going to listen to this podcast. Hopefully everyone does, but a few people might miss out. So the people that do will be able to see that stream on the side. So that's great. So
yeah, and I just confirmed it. Yeah, it's twitch.tv/TedDREWSUS, spelled just like my username.
Good. Okay, good. You'll have to just make sure that's submitted and on TestStreamite. So. Shock. Correct me if I'm wrong. We didn't really go through like your history and how you met DREWSUS. So, did we? Like, if we want to touch base on that at all here?
I don't think we got into anything specific on that.
So that's far away.
Well, I mean, Drew may remember exactly when we first started. I guess, you know, exchanging ideas, so to speak, because that's really all we've physically done. We've only played each other the one time at Summer Jam, for like a few matches, and that's
so what year was that?
What's that?
What year was that?
That was last year.
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
2018, yeah. I happened to throw together, like literally just throw together a UMK3 event. I had originally only planned on just like having Conqueror hang out for the weekend. Like that was the original idea, which we planned like way in advance, like probably like January, and Summer Jam is in, you know, the end of August usually. I think it was because it was before. Maybe, do you remember when that was, Drew? I think it was.
It was Labor Day weekend.
Labor Day weekend when we planned it.
Well, when we planned it, no.
No. That would have been yeah. I think it was before last year's Get It in Ohio. Because we both wanted to go to that, but we couldn't, and we were talking about it. We were like, we got to get together sometime. So I was like, well, I'm not gonna really be doing much at Summer Jam. I was pretty sure. So I was like, why don't you just figure out now, because you got like 6 months or whatever. I was like, see what you can do and see if you can come out. And it wound up working out with his schedule. And then I started talking to like just a few local guys. I was just like, hey, I was like, you know, Conqueror's coming out to Jersey, you know, for Summer Jam. We're going to probably just hang out for the weekend, you know, nothing crazy. And then I guess like the word of mouth just started going around, and like people started randomly messaging me, and I was like, okay, this is going to turn into it. So I was just like, all right, everybody, like literally, what was it, like maybe not even a month before, I was just like, everybody who could make it out, just come out and we'll get something together. And we did okay. It was, you know, I wish we could have had, you know, obviously like more space and stuff, but, you know, that was basically how we did it. So you and McLovins came out. You guys drove, right?
We drove out I think we left Friday morning, got there Friday evening, and stuck around until Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, and that's like basically when Conqueror and I really got to play, was after everybody left.
Yeah.
Sorry, I should say we did play the night. We did play Friday night at Yestercades because I took him. I was like, you gotta come. Like, you gotta come check it out. We got this awesome cabinet there, and we had a good time. We played Dreamer NJ actually came by too, so the three of us did a little rotation there for probably like maybe 2 hours or so. Um, and then we came back, and next day we did the tournament. And I mean, it seemed like everybody had a great time because it was kind of hard, like because there were so many people who like you want to make sure that they get to like really play, and we don't have like a lot of access. You know, you don't want like people like just like going to their rooms and playing. You know, when you have like an event where there's people and it's just like, oh, there's only like 2 setups or whatever. But just that was basically it. That was how we met. It's just kind of, oh yeah, I guess I can make it sort of thing.
Yeah.
Awesome. Now, yeah,
Yeah.
one thing missed earlier was so the event is called Get It in Ohio, correct?
Right.
Okay, so just so everyone knows that Get It in Ohio, it's been called that for since it started, correct?
It's been called that.
Okay,
since we
good.
started it. Yeah.
Okay. So, and Shock, just to clarify, and really Drew, you too, like this is really the only ongoing UMK3 like event that we have had, other than maybe with respect to other events, of course, other majors that are going on. Of course, they're like Shock. I know you host UMK3 events at other tournaments.
I mean, I piggyback off of other tournaments, but this is, I mean, Drew's event's the only dedicated, uh, you know, retro MK event in the country that I know of. I don't think anybody's ever run more than like a one shot. To run, now a fourth one is pretty much unprecedented. I mean, we did it like an official, UMK3 tournament at NEC probably every year between like 2005, now, well, 2004, 2005, something like that, all the way until 2011, and also like little ones in between. But after that, after MK9, it got harder and harder to run them at tournaments because by injustice, like a lot of the MK crew just fell off, and many of our players were sort of like guys who played it back in the day, and they just happen to be there for another game. And once they aren't there for a game anymore, then they're not there for UMK. They're not going to come out just for that.
Right.
So, there's very few and far between. Like AC 1984, I can like message him and be like, "Yo, like come to Summer Jam this weekend," and he'll be like, "Okay, bro, I'll try to go." So, because he's just gonna want to play in UMK. Like he might enter in like an MKX tournament, but he's there to play.
Right now, yeah, I miss AC. I haven't seen him for years. Yeah, I just want to clarify because again, the specialness of or how special this event that Drew is running is, just it's dedicated to these games, and people might not know that. So it's dedicated to primarily UMK3, and just how great that is. Now, I will state that even myself it's not easy to get this damn game. As awesome as it is, I mean, I'm not wrong on that, am I? Like, you have to go through MAME, you have to go through these other... I mean, it is possible, but not everyone knows how to do it. I just wish there was a better way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, there's the console ports on the previous gen. I mean, like you have 06, Xbox Live, UMK3, and then you have MK Arcade Collection, which is on Xbox Live, PS3.
Now you're talking about like the arcade collection.
Yeah, the arcade collection, and they're kind of the arcade collection ports. They kind of suck.
Well,
you don't absolute trash.
I've heard that. Jugs mentioned that's like a horrible version. So, but that's what I mean. Like, okay, that might be the easiest one for me to get into, but as far as
so you run into this dilemma where you have like the most accessible is the MK Arcade Collection, but it's the worst. Like that's like a terrible thing to have to deal with. But then you can't get the 06 version unless you like jump through hoops. Like you really have to jump through hoops to get the 06 version. And then MAME is the most complicated, but it's probably the overall most consistent. So you really have to like pick your poison there. If you want to practice combos, you can probably get MK Arcade Collection and just mess around on that. But if you really want to play people, you got to learn how to set up MAME and get it running. Once you get it running, though, it's not a big deal. It's just that initial, you know, getting the right version that everybody has. And
Yeah, I think I ran into some issues doing that because I was really, I mean, even to this day, it's not like it was just like a 1 week thing or a weekend thing where, hey, I wanted to play UMK3. It's just, if I could get it on my PC, I would and be able to play online, that'd be great. But I almost thought that, hey, you know what, screw this. You know, instead of looking through all these maybe tutorials or asking some people on the forum, just like bring them. I felt like I had to like bring my PC to UShock at like an event and just
the easiest way, I mean, Drew can tell you the easiest way to standardize your UMK3 is to just get the latest version of UMK3 Plus, and then call it a day. Like you don't need it, you know, to mess around with anything else. Just find out what emulator everybody's using. That's all.
But you're still talking MAME though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
And UMK3 Plus isn't its release date is scheduled for April 5th. Coincides perfectly with the tournament. Not that I set it up that way or anything. I did. But there's another build of MAME out there that's I mean, obviously UMK3 Plus isn't included in it because it's not out yet. It's the one that everybody uses. I think over on Test Your Might, NWO is the one that's put it together. There's Teams Edition, there's regular Juggernaut. I think one of the TE builds is in there. Ultimate Cup is in there. So like you have all these different flavors of UMK3 that you can play. And of course, like I said, it does include Juggernaut and it does include 1.2. So like if you want to play some regular UMK3, you can play some regular UMK3.
Yeah, but with that, like,
go
if
ahead.
you have different versions, but if you're trying to, like, for me, for example, if I'm trying to get the game and like to where I can even just get it hooked up on my PC and get my controller working and everything else like that, get online with other players is what I'm getting at. So if I have a different version, are you going to have to match the other player's version, or how does that work?
Right, yeah, the main build does have to match up.
Yeah, it just won't work.
MAME's pretty picky about that.
Okay, yeah, it's where
there's
just
tiny little differences in like just anything that'll cause the games to desync, or for example, different versions of MAME require different ROM sets. That was a big problem back in the day, but I think most people have kind of gotten over that and figured out exactly what set they need to use. So that's all very. You know, we're just basically talking about pirating. You know, pirating games and just do it. You know.
I guess you kind of have to with some of the stuff, but
Yeah.
not that full. But
unless we can manage to get our hands on WaveNet and manipulate the computer that they added for that, and then we could technically make our own server, and we could network our K cabinets if we really wanted to. We could do that.
I find that with how. You know, again, I'm a lover of UMK3, and I'd like to also play it as well. But I think that's gotta admit that's gotta be a gate that's keeping a lot of players out from playing this game. So it's just, you know, with again the simplest put, like how would you recommend someone who wants to play this game, like the simplest way to go about it and how to get the latest version? Just to keep checking the forums, of course, for one. But again, like simply put, how would you recommend going about doing that?
I think, yeah, keeping an eye on the forums, big one. Like there's a Skype group, there's a Discord group, there's a Facebook chat, and you got different people throughout all of them. But the one thing that they do have in common is, you know, the downloads, whether it's the downloads page, whether it's the downloads link, they keep it consistent across all three to make sure that everybody does have the same build of MAME.
Okay, so with that said, it's people that want to get into this game and maybe they want to come out to your event, maybe they live local, maybe they don't. You know, would it be safe to say that they could contact either of you guys and or just even just post in the forums and tag you and try to get, help if they want to get these things set up then?
Definitely.
I would say don't contact me. um,
No, that's
definitely
fair. That's why we're talking
start
right
with
now.
start with the boards, and if you need some deeper info, maybe private message somebody like Drew, because Drew's, he's got like the handle on this. I'm not helpful when it comes to this. I'm not in any of the group chats. I like to stay out of that, stay out of the drama.
No,
And
I
just
respect that, Shock. Yeah.
run operations. That's where I've come to. I had enough of that back in the day. I ran a forum myself, and I was pretty vocal, and I was pretty tyrannical. So
No, that's fair, but that's why I asked the question. So I mean, if people want to, aside from the forums, if they just want a direct contact, just tag DREWSUS and ask him about it, or even just post on the forums and just those guys. I posted in there because I was a little curious about what version to get and this and that, and a lot of them were very quick to help out. So I'd recommend doing that. So. I guess we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here in the next few minutes. Is there any last comments, Drew? We'll start with you, that you'd like to add regarding your event. Really anything. People that you'd like to thank. You name it. If you want to go ahead and do that.
Sure. Want to thank, start out with Combat Network for some exposure that they've done for us. I think last year, I can't remember which event it was, but Shock ran a very, very, very beta build of UMK3 Plus back before it was UMK3 Plus on stream, and he was playing as Rain, a very basic build of Rain.
that was fun.
So like a big thanks for that. Your MK Arcade Source. He's a user on Test Your Might. He's got a YouTube channel of the same, your MK Arcade Source. Big thanks to him. Also, he's been pretty gracious with some sponsorship money this year, as has Combat Network. Appreciate that. But anybody that wants to come out and play, come out and play. It's a great time. What we talked about last year, what we talked about earlier with like the online personas and people kind of being nervous about that. Because, there were some people that had some questions that were on the fence about coming last year. And I said, look, online is online, but, offline, it's a totally different story. People are so much cooler offline. And when you're in a room with a bunch of people playing a game, it is almost a surreal experience, because you're sitting in front of a control, you've got a controller in your hand, you're sitting in front of a monitor playing somebody who could be anywhere from 20 to 2,000 miles away, and you're sitting next to them and you're looking at the same screen playing against them offline. Totally different experience, and it's a much better one, I think.
Definitely sweat more.
You definitely sweat more.
You definitely do sweat a little more after every match. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's the first round of the event or if it's like, grand finals. Like, my knuckles are white and I'm shaking after every match is over. So, and if you don't think you'll come out and do very well, get some casuals in. I mean, put it this way. I came in 4th last year, champion of the UMK3 1v1 event, DDY. We were tied 2-2, and the winner would go into winners finals. The first round of the final match, I flawlessed him, and beat me the next 2 rounds to move on to winners finals. I think I won one more match, then got eliminated by the 3rd place finisher. So thing can happen.
Yeah, those tournament nerves that you speak of, tournament nerves. I've experienced those myself, so that's what that's all about. So Shock.
Yes.
How about you, sir?
I would have. I would definitely like to do another one of these, and maybe talk a little more about Drew's like personal experiences with the game.
Yeah, definitely.
I always love hearing about that. And if you played it all like back in the arcade days, or if it was like if it was console, playing your buddies, anything like that. Like I always like hearing stories about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I,
definitely. And
I made Human Smoke back in the arcade days too. I did. I'm not kidding, but I was not that good at it, and he was basically, to me, a gray smoking scorpion.
you know what I did? I actually, when I forget what console it was on. I'm pretty sure I had the Super Nintendo because I always loved the Genesis because it was like a black system, and also it was like that was like the bloody one. Um, but I spammed Sector's missiles. So I'll admit that it's the first time I'm ever admitting that. But yeah, I spammed Sector's missiles. I loved it, and yeah. But anyway, that wasn't playing against anyone. That was just in the arcade. So Shock, anything else? But yeah, Drew, hold those thoughts for the next episode.
Yeah.
So we'll wrap this one up, and any other topics you guys can think of, we'll save for the
Well,
next
I'm
one.
going to be doing a couple events this month, but I'm going to be streaming at CT GamerCon in Connecticut. That's Connecticut's terrific GamerCon. This will be the third year. I'm probably going to do all the 3D games, all the new stuff like Tekken 7, Soul Calibur 6, DOA. And that'll be Sunday. I guess that's the 24th. I think it's the 23rd, 24th, if I remember. But I don't think we're doing anything MK related for that. And then after Drew's event, I'll announce formally what I'm doing. If I'm doing, I haven't really had any contact with the guy who runs another GamerCon in New Jersey. He specifically wants me to run UMK3, and I assume I'll also run MK11 at that event. There's no reason not to get some more meat in the seat, so to speak.
Awesome.
But I'll announce that after Drew's event, as to not deter anybody from going if they're like more locally here, because they may just be like, oh, I can go in July and go play Mortal Kombat. I'll just wait till then. You know how people can be. So
Right.
I don't know if it's happening or not yet, but I just want to throw it out that there is something going on. And also May, when is that? What weekend is the like what the hell is that event that they're doing that James and blowing up, like the
Not talking about the summit, are you?
Summit of Time? Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's May.
It sounds like a Legend of Zelda game. Like, what is that?
That's the invitational for MK11. That's going to be huge. Yeah.
Okay, so the weekend after that, I'm going to be running MK11 at Westfield Yestercades in New Jersey, which is like sort of like North Jersey.
Okay.
So for anybody in the tri-state area, we used to draw pretty big. I might have mentioned on one of the previous ones that we had like people from like 6 states in Canada come out for MK9 for an event for like 40 people. I mean, think about that. That's ridiculous to have that many different states represented. But we'll be doing that, and I think we should be able to get a good draw. Westfield Yestercades is 8,000 square feet, like 120 arcade games. Tons of pinball, consoles, everything under the sun. Great experience. It'll probably be like a $15 venue fee. We may be able to do something lower if you're not going to go in the arcade, because there's like a party room and then there's like a private room, which we'll do I guess we'll do the stream in the private room. Anyway, I'm getting into this. So we'll be doing that in May, and it's going to be the weekend after the Summit of Time, as to not interfere stream wise, because I think we'll do pretty good with that. And that'll be on Combat Network, of course.
Awesome. So just to wrap things up, so thanks everyone for tuning in and listening, and most importantly, be checking out Drew's event and Get It in Ohio in Cincinnati, Ohio. We're gonna have the thread promoted here very shortly. I have all the information in there. If you have any questions about it, you can ask in the thread. I'm sure Drew will be more than happy to answer. Make sure you subscribe to the TestYourMight.com YouTube channel, because as we do these episodes, and again, we're going to be getting with Drew again here shortly, you'll be able to be connected directly to those episodes, so be sure to subscribe to that channel. Again, we have Drew, thank you for joining us. We have Shock as well, of course, and I'm Storms. Thank you very much for listening. We'll see you guys. So, with that said, I guess we're going to go ahead and end it. I appreciate your time, both of you, and I'm looking forward to the next episode, okay?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Get me on anytime. I'll talk about anything you want.
I love it, Shock. I love it. All right. See you guys.
All right.
Thanks.
Take care, man.